Unfortunately, when people focus on getting fit or training their body, one of the things that they rarely talk about is your joints. I've seen people who are pretty advanced into their fitness journey ignore their joints, as well as people who are just starting out. And we're not going to get really technical about this because we're not here to actually give you a degree in kinesiology, but we do want to be able to take some notes about joint development on page 97 of your playbook so that you actually have an understanding of the keys in your hand and often how easy it is to take care of your joints so that they take care of you. Let's start with a quick definition. When we say joints, we're referring to points of connection between bones. So we're just using joints as a catch-all term for ligaments, tendons, and joints. And your joints are basically how all of your bones are connected to each other and how those bones are actually connected to your muscles. It's helpful if you just think of joints as connectors or connections. Joints are what hold your entire body together. So obviously, they are incredibly important and they actually deserve a conversation. You need your joints to be in the best shape possible because this is how you actually prevent injuries like sprains and dislocations. It's how you actually improve your performance and develop a greater range of motion so you can actually do things like comfortably squat really deep and low to the ground. And it's also how you actually prevent things that no one wants, like arthritis. So even though you probably won't hear many others talking about your joints, it's necessary to give them the attention and consideration no matter where you are on your fitness journey. When people get impatient about seeing results, that's usually when they actually start ignoring their joints, and that's when injuries happen. In fact, one of the risks with anabolic steroids, and a huge reason why I've never done them, is because they make muscles grow so much faster than the joints can even keep up. What happens when you take steroids is you've got all of this muscle mass piling up around a weak connection. So people see and feel this muscle growth, and that makes them overly confident and overly ambitious with how much weight they think that they should suddenly be able to lift. But if the connectors haven't been developed or prepared to be able to hold that much weight, that's when serious injuries can happen. So now you might be thinking, no worries, I'm never going to be using steroids, so I don't need to worry about that. And not necessarily, because if you've been sedentary or sitting at a desk or on your couch for the last few years or even decades, it's very likely that your joints need some consideration too, because they probably haven't been getting enough movement to be able to make it safe for them to actually suddenly jump into action like we're going to be doing. Imagine you have a rubber band in the freezer, so it gets super cold. The colder the rubber band gets, the more breakable it becomes. And that rubber band represents your joints. The freezer is your sedentary lifestyle with minimal movement and very limited range of motion. Now, if you suddenly start pulling on that rubber band or putting pressure on it from different directions, it has the potential to break and tear really easily, right? The solution is to let the rubber band warm up slowly so that it actually regains its flexibility and so that it's ready to move in a lot of different directions. And now it can stretch pretty far. This is why people who are wanting to get fit after a long time of being inactive need to consider their joints too. And if I'm being honest, I still think about mine every time that I go and train. So how do you take care of your joints? And how do you make them stronger? Because these connectors do not grow in the traditional sense that muscles grow, joints don't necessarily get bigger. Tendons and ligaments can thicken, but again, they're not getting bigger. But what joints can do is get stronger. And in that case, they still need nourishment. So no matter what your goals are, if you simply want to lose weight and feel better about your body, or if you want to put on serious muscle, you must have a parallel focus, bringing your entire self along for the ride. The hundreds of joints in your body must get used to hinging and moving in certain ways and bearing weight. You should prioritize building endurance and strength within your joints because that's what sets you up for success long in the future. Our priority is to make sure that you can complete your workouts. But if your joints are hurting, or if you're regularly incapable of doing those workouts, and if you can't train, then that's an issue. So let's talk about 8 ways to strengthen and improve your joint health. So here on page 97 of your playbook, you can jot down some of the notes that I'm going to be sharing with you right now. First, be patient. Don't push yourself too far, too fast. Gradually increase the intensity of the activity that you're doing. So for example, let's say that it's time for you to actually take your morning walk. It's okay to start slower and gradually increase your speed, block by block, because this gradually increases your heart rate more gently, and it gives your joints and muscles the opportunity to move without lots of intense pounding that can actually jar your joints and create unnecessary pain. Remember, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Over time, you're going to actually make greater gains simply by strengthening your joints with this in mind. Second, Start with low impact exercises. Walking, cycling, doing dynamics, or other mobility exercises the way that we'll be teaching you. You should be doing those every day. And personally, I take one walk in the morning, another around lunch, and then a third after dinner. And my complete workouts always start with 5 minutes of cycling and about 15 minutes or so of dynamics. And you'll find the details about how to do that coming up later in this course. The third way you can improve your joints is if you do strength training. Again, you have access to an entire library of demonstrations for strength training, so you will see how to actually do this. And it's important to gradually increase the intensity from using your body weight to light weights to heavier weights, not just immediately jumping into the heaviest thing. So if you feel pain in your joints when you're moving around, this is an indicator that something is off. It could mean that you actually haven't warmed up enough or warmed up properly with the kinds of dynamics that we'll be teaching you. Or it could mean that you're giving too much effort, like you're leaving the third degree of pain and effort, and you're starting to enter the fourth, where you can rapidly lose control and get reckless. The fourth thing that you can do is stretch. You should be stretching daily, specifically at the end of your complete workout. It's an essential part of maintaining your body that you absolutely cannot skip. Even if you're the kind of person who leaves a fitness class and plans to actually stretch at home, you really need to take that time to stretch. The best thing is to take those 7 minutes or so at the studio and go through our stretching protocol, like you'll see in our upcoming demonstration for stretching. The fifth thing that you can do is maintain a healthy weight, because the weight that you actually regularly carry all hours of the day puts consistent pressure on your knees, hips, back, and shoulders. You can reduce that pressure by carrying less weight overall. If you have access to phase 2 of our training, nourishment navigation, then you have access to the process that confirms that you're taking in the right amount of calories for you, so it'll be easier to maintain your weight. The sixth way to protect your joints is to make sure that you're getting enough collagen, omega-3 fatty acids, calcium, and vitamin D. And before you rush out to order supplements, if you're following nourishment navigation, it's very likely that you're already getting those nutrients in the whole foods that we recommended. You can make sure to incorporate these foods into your ideal meal plan. The seventh key you have is to get enough water. We will share more on this coming up soon, but water is an essential element for your joints to stay lubricated and collagen to be produced and function correctly. Drinking enough water is one of the simplest and easiest ways that you can actually improve your joint health. The eighth thing that you can do is stay consistent. Maintaining your joints isn't a one and done thing. Imagine if your car only got one oil change ever. Maintaining your car is an ongoing project, right? Well, your body is your vessel. It needs ongoing maintenance. So being consistent is necessary in order for you to get fit and stay fit. All right, so that covers it. You've gotten a basic understanding of what your joints are, how they contribute to your overall health, and why you need to consider them no matter where you're at on your fitness journey, as well as the 8 ways that you can strengthen and improve your joint health.